Friends and family, thank you guys so much for joining. Every day is a Saturday with your host, me, myself, and I, Brian Roof. Hey, what's going on, guys? I am so excited for today's show. I've been waiting to meet this guy, have him on my show. I finally got in touch with him, and he's here. So here we go. My next guest is a United States Marine veteran who served his country proud from 1996 to 2000. He started as an amphibious assault driver and ended up being a Marine marksman, shooting instructor, teaching Marines and sailors how to shoot. Now he's a major name in the veteran community, being the founder and CEO of Herostock, in which their mission provides support and pays tribute to the heroes of our community and country by organizing an annual event in their honor, complete with food, music, and camaraderie. Without further ado, let's meet Jason Steiner. What's up, going Brian? On, brother? Hey, man. Glad to see you, man, in person, in the flesh. I've watched you on several other podcasts.
Awesome.
Glad to get you to take the time to come on mine, man.
Most definitely. Happy to be here, brother. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. So let's go ahead and get to know Jason Steiner. You know, I know you're a Marine veteran. What made you join the Marine Corps? You know, how was the Marine Corps for you? What did you do? And when you got out, where did life take you?
So in early 96, I realized I wasn't going anywhere in life, working construction for a small guy here south of Lincoln. Got a postcard in the mail from a Marine recruiter. Said, give me 15 minutes of your time. I'll give you a set of dog tags. And I was like, hell yeah, dog tags are badass. Let's see them. So he called down. He's like, hey, you got 15 minutes? I said, yeah, sure. Come on down. So he came down to the house, and I was living with my parents at the time. And he pops in and he starts telling me, what do you like to do? And I said, I like shooting. I like riding bulls, all this. And he's like, oh man, we got something in the Marine Corps for every one of those. He goes, you could literally do nothing but be on a shooting team the whole time you're in. And I'm like, bro, that's badass, but I just want the dog tags, right? I have military history in my family, but it was never really on my radar to join. And so he goes down. He knew that he was losing me. So he goes down to his car and he grabs his dress blues and he brings them up and he goes, here, pop these on. So I slip them on in the bathroom and I button them up and I'm like, this is it. I got the panty droppers on. These are awesome. I want to be a piece of this.
Yeah.
And so I went out and I signed the papers. And I was supposed to ship in September. He called me up. It was mid-April, and he goes, hey, we've got a spot open May 12th. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, you know what? If I don't go now, I don't know that I'll do this. So, yeah, let's do it. And so he came down Mother's Day in 1996 and picked me up to take me to fly to San Diego. And my mother still will not let me live that down to this day.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I shipped out, went to boot camp in San Diego, laid my rack and watched the airplanes take off every night going, why did I do this again? I could be on one of those planes going home.
Yes, me too, brother.
4th of July, I watched the fireworks that were in SeaWorld. We could see them from our barracks. Right. And I'm going, and I'm here. Why? But no, we got through boot camp. Ended up getting put into the 1833 Amphibious Assault Vehicles, YAS. So if you ain't tracks, you ain't shit. That was our slogan. Went into Alcatraz after school, or Alpha Company, or Alcatraz is what we called it. Actually had shirts made up that had jail bars, and it was kind of comical.
Badass.
Yeah. It was. I still have one of the shirts today. Actually, I can't fit into it anymore, but I have one of the shirts.
I'm with you. I got a lot of memorabilia I can't fit into.
Exactly. I've grown a little bit since then.
Put it in a frame.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, we ended up deploying to Japan. We did 6 months over, or 4.5 months on the Rock in Okinawa. A month and a half up in mainland. Mainland was super cool. We were at Camp Fuji. So you'd wake up every morning to Mount Fuji behind the barracks. And the weekend of my birthday, my section leader was like, hey, our whole section's climbing Mount Fuji. So let's go. So for my 21st birthday, I actually climbed Mount Fuji.
Wow, that's nice.
Probably
not a lot of people can say that.
Yeah, exactly. Super cool experience. We came back and they disbanded our platoon. And my platoon sergeant, Staff Sergeant McDonald, he got moved up to battalion to be the primary marksmanship instructor, staff NCO up there. And he had a younger kid working under him when we first got back. And this kid, I got to be pretty good friends with him. And he was getting out and he's like, hey, my spot's coming open. Would you be interested in being the marksmanship instructor if we can get you moved up here? And I'm like, yeah, duh. So he ended up EASing and they moved me up into his spot to be the marksmanship instructor for 3rd Tracks. So I got to spend my last 2 years playing with the indoor simulated marksmanship trainer and training 1,100 Marines and corpsmen a year on rifle and pistol. So there's
no doubt you were an expert.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I didn't love teaching because I'm not huge on getting up in front of people and talking. But as far
really?
as I'm not. I hate it. I hate getting up in front of crowds and talking. And
oh yeah.
I've learned to do it with, the nonprofit that I was with before. And now with Herostock, getting up in front of people and talking about what it is and pitching it to them and that kind of stuff. So I've learned to deal with it, but it's still not something I want to do.
Right.
And it's not that I'm shy. It's just, I freeze up and I'm like, you got eyeballs staring at you. Like,
yeah.
But no, so I ended up getting out. I started a business. Both my brothers did flooring. So I jumped in with one of them and kind of learned the trade a little bit on putting down vinyl or linoleum floors. And then I've expanded on that throughout the years. I do mainly tile and wood floors now. But I've been running my business since 2001. So we're going on quite a while now.
Wow. Yeah, man. That's great.
So yeah, I did that. I got married when I was in the Marine Corps. When we moved back, it was only supposed to be temporary. I was going to go to school when we first moved back, and we get back to Nebraska and we find out that my wife's pregnant, and school took a back seat to work to, be able to pay for diapers and housing and cars and that kind of stuff. So, I never did the school route. I started my business and just grew it from there. Focused on family and growing the business and that kind of thing. And really kind of pushed back from anything military. I did have one bad experience when I was really early getting out with one of the local groups. And I was like, I'm done, man. I have no love for it. I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
So I focused on family, focused on the business. 2019, I had a couple dads. So my kids grew up playing hockey. I'd never played hockey before, but I ended up coaching my son's team for a couple of years and learned the game and loved the game. And so 2019, I had a couple of the dads that I knew from around the rink. I didn't know them personally. They approached me and they're like, hey, we just went down to Kansas City and watched the Kansas City Warriors play this exhibition game. And it's all veterans, disabled veterans. And we want to bring that back to Lincoln and start like a Nebraska chapter of it. And I'm like, that's cool. Yeah, I'll jump in on this. And so we ended up forming it January of 2019. We had our first skate in April of 2019. We had 22 skaters show up. By the end of the first year, we had over 70 players signed up with us. By the end of the second year, we had over 120 players signed up with us.
Wow.
And we opened it up. It wasn't just disabled veterans. So we opened it up to all veterans. If you want to come out and you want to try hockey, come on out. If you're still actively serving, come on out. So we had a lot of good response from that. Yeah, there goes my light again.
You're good.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. we do national tournaments. Like we go to Oklahoma, we've been to Vegas. The team actually just won a tournament up in Detroit, the national tournament. So it's pretty cool to see the growth of that. But in 2020, COVID kind of hit us hard. We had a few issues within the board, and it basically imploded our board. And we basically had to build it from scratch. Me and another Marine grabbed the reins and started sifting through stuff and trying to piece it back together. And we got it all pieced back together. And it's growing, it's recovering right now. And it's good to see it coming back and that kind of thing. But towards the end of my service for that group, I was trying to figure out some way that veterans could just hang out. Like, running a nonprofit, you're always sitting at the table. You're always running an event. You're going to tournaments. You don't ever have time to just really hang out as veterans.
Right.
So my initial thought was I was going to plan a night out for my group to go throw axes, which probably wasn't thought through real well with military alcohol and axes, but
yeah. It could probably turn into a different little
right. Marines would have been throwing the axes at each other, trying to dodge them. And
like, hey bro, go stand up there. Let me see if I can get in between your arms.
Exactly. But then I had a neighbor, he's a Marine. He lives just up the street from me, and he comes down one night and he's like, I was thinking about this night out thing, and I've got a band that wants to come in and play for us. Would you be interested in setting something up? And I was like, yeah, that would be kind of fun. We could just throw some chairs out, a couple fire pits, roast hot dogs, s'mores, and listen to this dude sing. So I contacted the guy, and he goes, October 22nd is the only date that I have open. And I'm thinking, okay, in Nebraska, we could be in 3 foot of snow, or it could be 80 degrees. We really don't know. But I'm like, screw it, let's do it. So I lined him up. The guy's name's Pete Butler. He's from Western Nebraska. Does a lot of throwback, Waylon Willie, that kind of stuff. Super nice guy. 2 days later, that same neighbor comes down and he goes, hey, I got another band that wants to come in and play. And I'm like, you know what? Let's make an event of it then. So I took it upon myself to, in 45 days, from the day of the idea to the day of the event, to set this up. And we were on Facebook for about 15 days. I literally went through my phone and hit every contractor that I have in my phone and said, hey man, this is what I'm doing. Would you be interested in donating money to it? The event ended up costing me about $6,800. I think we raised, or $6,300. I think we raised $7,800 in 45 days. So great.
That's amazing.
Response. Yeah. I mean, it was incredible.
Wow.
We had a pile of people like give us all sorts of merchandise and that kind of stuff. Which was very cool too, because we gave away free raffle tickets for anybody that showed up. And then we raffled off all this stuff that we had donated to us. We set up a cornhole tournament with prizes for the top couple places. We had a food truck come in. It was a really laid back, fun night, but it was supposed to be a one-time deal. It was never supposed to expand. It was a one-time deal. We're just going to hang out tonight, have this great time, and kind of go from there. And one of the things that I noticed, like, as we were, like, the ball started rolling on this, and it kind of triggered me, because when I got out, I knew of 2 veterans organizations. You had the VFW, you had the Legion. The VFW, I couldn't join because I never fought in a foreign war. Mm. The Legion was a bunch of grumpy old men that would sit at the end of the bar and yell at you. And I'm like, that's all that I knew. Well, I'm standing there looking as we're getting the event going, and I'm like, we have 12 nonprofits here, and there's 5 of them that I'd never heard of. And I'd been in the nonprofit world for 4 years at this point. And I'm like, let's highlight them. Let's let them talk about who they are and what they do. So before everything kicked off, I grabbed the leaders of all of them. I said, I want you guys to come up, give a 2-minute elevator speech, who you are, what you do, what your organization is, and how to get a hold of you. And so we had these 12 organizations get up and they did their spiel, and we ended up actually having people join some of these organizations because of this event. And last year we limited it. It was just veterans. So we originally called it Vetstock, was the original name of it. And then when we started doing our paperwork, well,
was it, what year was this? In 2022 was the Vetstock, or?
Yeah, 2022.
So last year. Okay.
Yep. Right. So after the event, my phone went crazy. I was getting calls, texts, emails. Dude, you have to do this again. That was so much fun. So I ended up grabbing up a couple people that had helped me set up and help me do stuff last year. And I said, let's form this. Let's make this an event every year and do a yearly event. And as we were forming it, one of the board members was like, let's open this up, man. Let's open it up to first responders, Gold Star families, corrections, law enforcement, everybody. Anybody that's a hero, let's open it up. Because as we were doing the paperwork for the 501c, we found out there was another Vetstock on the East Coast that was basically doing the same thing that we were doing.
Oh, okay. So
we changed the name to Herostock and opened this up to all of our nation's heroes. And I think it's been a great move, because they deserve recognition too. You got law enforcement and EMS and those guys.
Absolutely.
They're in the shit every day, right?
Yep.
They see more than a lot of us that served, because
sure.
they see
right. Exactly. Not everybody's a combat, or deployed Marine or, veteran in general.
Right. So it took kind of a weird turn when we added everybody, and I was like, this is really good. I really like it. So we've really kind of changed the scape of it from last year as far as that goes, but it's still got that same mentality of, we're there for brotherhood. We're there to meet somebody. Let's meet somebody. That's my goal every year is I want to meet somebody new. Well, last year, I think I met about 50 new people. A lot of them I still talk to today. So it's been good for me to be able to give back to the veteran community and give back to the first responder community and that kind of stuff, to open up that avenue of hopefully you can find your battle buddy, your civilian battle buddy, to have somebody that you can talk to and lean on and that kind of stuff. So it's been pretty cool liking that aspect of it. So
that's great, man. I've checked into it, and I'm all the way in California, but my wife and I have definitely talked about trying to make arrangements to get our way out there. So
that would be awesome.
Already starting to look for babysitters and everything, because there's a lot of people that I have, recently have connected with that are going out that way too. So it would be great, to see you in person, to see. I imagine at that point in time, I probably wouldn't even get to see you, but you'd be like,
I'll be a chicken
but I'll catch up with you at some point in time, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, but it'd just be great to see everybody in general and give everybody just the biggest bear hug. And man, it's like, hell yeah, bro. Like,
right.
But I'm it's great what you guys are doing. I'm excited that, you guys are doing it now, with your business and everything else and stuff. Did COVID not affect your business and you guys stay afloat and through all that? I mean, because a lot of businesses did not make it through it. You know what I mean? So
right. No, COVID actually increased my business.
Oh shoot!
Because everybody was sitting around their house going, "Oh, now we need to remodel this." Oh, now
right.
They had all this money because they weren't going out to eat and they weren't going to movies and concerts.
Oh yeah, didn't even think about that.
Yeah, we can spend our money inside the house, and for the most part, the people of Nebraska were pretty calm about it. They were like, so it's common flu, after we got through the initial part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it actually increased my business. I've been busier the last couple of years than I've ever been. So that it's been really good in that aspect.
And when you guys started, was this around 2021 is when you guys did the first event, and then it was 2022, or did you guys skip? When was the actual first event?
The actual first event was October 22nd, 2022.
Okay. That was the actual first event. Yep.
And we were really fresh on it. Like a week after we sat down and started planning Herostock.
How many, you now let's talk about it. And, what exactly is Herostock, and, who do you look for to bring on, and, who all plays, and like kind of what's the lineup of it all?
Sure. So it's kind of it's kind of grown in that aspect too, because we've had Wheels for Warriors join up with us. They're a local nonprofit here. They have a group that they work with called Randa's Ride. So 8 p.m. on Friday is actually the kickoff for Herostock. They're going to be doing a 1,000-mile iron butt ride down to Adam Sandoval's K River campground down in Moyer, Oklahoma. That'll be the staging point for anybody in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, anywhere down south that wants to ride back with them. So they'll jump on their bikes and start heading back, and they're planning on being back around 2 o'clock, 2 to 2:30 on Saturday, which is the actual day of the event. So they're going to kick us off at 8 o'clock on Friday night. Then we have the cornhole tournament will actually start at 2 o'clock. But prior to that, Ruck It Up for Warriors, which is another local nonprofit, they're going to be doing a ruck march that starts at Round the Bend Steakhouse, where the event is. They're going to be doing about a 6-mile march, ruck march, and come back to Herostock and land there around 2 o'clock again. They've talked about doing the Irreverent Warriors have talked about doing their Silky hike that day too, and landing at Herostock. So we have a lot of moving pieces. Like before the actual event even starts, we've got stuff that's pre-planned that's going to be going on.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, I mean it's super cool, and part of this is I want veterans organizations to look at this and go, hey, we can work with somebody else. We don't have to try to have the pie to ourselves. Let's spread this out and make everybody great, because not everybody likes to ruck march. Yeah. Not everybody likes motorcycles. But guess what? Right. You're going to find that handful that they want to be part of that motorcycle group, and they want to be part of a ruck march group or a hunting and fishing group like Combat Warriors or Deuce Outfitters Ministry. Or, there's so many different choices out there that if we don't highlight them, most people don't know about them.
Exactly. Because you just named off several that I haven't heard about either. So,
right.
That just goes to show you. I'm trying to, think about a way of making a central location where people can go. Say you click on a state, boom, all the resources that are available there. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's so much misinformation, and we don't know about some of these things. And there's even retreats out there, for PTSD that are strictly for veterans or first responders, people that, have gone through some extreme things. So anyway, like that's another reason why I started kind of expanding out on my podcast is definitely trying to bring awareness and stuff like that to everybody. So they're like just another avenue. I'm not that big or nothing, right now, but
right.
The thing is getting it out there, whether it's to one person or 100 people.
Yep.
There's just new people getting it out, to themselves, and they're like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Right.
And then it just starts sharing itself. You know what I mean? So,
yep. Well, and I just had a group reach out, I think it was yesterday, out of Colorado, and they're called Veteran Rescue Ranch. And they rescue animals, and then they have veterans come out and they house them for a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is. And they do therapy through animals. They do therapies through expeditions like on their property, or local sites around the area that they're at. And they pay 100% once the veteran gets there. They pay 100% for whatever that veteran does. The veteran just has to get there. I'd never heard of him. And literally he reached out through email. He heard me on one of the podcasts and he's like, hey man, I want to be part of this. So they're coming in from Denver, Colorado to set up a table at Herostock.
That's amazing.
And we're starting to get that. Like we're starting to see, we had another lady reach out. I think she's from North Carolina, that she does, her daughter has cerebral palsy. She's wheelchair bound, but she loves veterans. And so they started collecting pictures of veterans And now she goes around the country and she puts up Christmas trees that's got veterans' pictures that were killed in war. And they have like 50 trees that they dedicate to the 20-year war, that we were just in.
Yeah.
And they have every picture of every veteran that was killed in combat. And so I was talking to her and I said, well,
that's touching.
Yeah, I mean, it's super cool. And
gosh dang.
I think I talked to a lady for, I don't know, an hour and a half. During my work day, I'm like on the phone talking to her because I'm like, I'd rather do this than lay tile. So it was pretty cool, just getting to talk to her and that kind of stuff. And but she, she's like, well, we want to come in and we want to be part of this. And I'm like, well, we've already got Patriotic Productions is bringing in the Nebraska wall that has all the Nebraska veterans that were killed in combat. And she goes, well, I also do a first responder and gold star trees. And I'm like, perfect, bring them in. So she's talking about coming in from North Carolina to bring her trees in for the first responders and gold star families.
Wow.
It's just, and it's that kind of stuff. Like I'm getting reached out to by people and I'm reaching out to people. I talked to a kid up in not a kid, he's 35 years old. A Marine from Michigan, and he runs Primal Outfitters Incorporated. And he does the same thing where he takes people out hunting and fishing and camping and survival and that kind of stuff. And I talked to him for 3 hours about nonprofits and fundraising and, and that kind of stuff. And so I'm getting to make all these contacts throughout the United States with people I had no idea about. Right. And so for me, that's super cool to be able to have those contacts, throughout the United States of, hey, we got a veteran in trouble down here. I know this guy and he's tied into the veteran community down there. Let's get this guy some help, so that's kind of my new thing with this is now that I'm making all these contacts throughout the United States, I'm like, this is awesome.
Absolutely, man.
I talked to Scott Hussein that has Save the Brave out of California. I've got the People's Patriot Project. They're out of Minnesota, but they've got like contacts throughout the United States. So that's kind of the cool part for me is to be able to interact with all these veteran nonprofits throughout the United States, not just our local groups too. So that's super cool. And we're getting feedback from them going, man, we really want to be part of this. So I don't know. I think we're up to 32 vendors that's going to be coming in this year. That's either veteran
that's awesome
or veteran nonprofit. Yeah. And we really haven't advertised it. I mean, outside of podcast, it's been pretty small on the advertisement front, so
that's a good thing where people want to be there. You know
Right.
what I mean? And that's going to be great for you, man. You're going to end up having a list of like, I'm going to have to put you on a waiting list just in case someone cancels out. Maybe I got you, because I'm sure you only got so many rooms for so many booths. And I mean, all that, comes into place. And dude, the more you, so do you got yourself a team that helps you with all this, or
I've got 5.
Are you the team?
Well, 4
5 people. 4 people. Wow.
Yeah, 5 including me. So
okay.
We're running pretty ragged. We're and it's 100 mile an hour straight ahead. I mean,
man, yeah, I'm sure.
But
Nebraska sounds like they got a lot of great, organizations over there in that state, man. I mean, I've been hearing great things, and I think it's because now I follow you and stuff like that, so I'm seeing all these great things. But I'm just like, wow, Nebraska's got a lot to offer out there.
We actually have a ton of veteran nonprofits out here, and like I said, I'm still finding them. So I kind of went off topic. We were talking about the event and that kind of thing. So I'm going to jump back to that quick because this will kind of tie into what we were just talking about. But so 2:00 the cornhole tournament kicks off. We're going to have 5 to 7 sets of boards set up. We're going to run a bracket system. The top 3 to 5 will actually get prizes.
Bro, you're getting me like you're just getting me like ready to go, bro. Like I just
you gotta throw bags, right?
the competitor in me, man.
and it's awesome because even last year, you'd have an Air Force guy standing on one side of the board and a Marine standing on the other side of the board, and they're jawing back and forth, and everybody's laughing, and there was hugs and high fives, and it was a great time, over the cornhole boards. I had so much fun just watching that.
Yeah.
So that will kick off at 2. Around 3:00, we're going to pull a bunch of the heads of the organizations up. They're going to give their spiels. 3:30, we have the Bravo Zulu group, which is a group out of Omaha that does skydiving, scuba diving, kind of the adrenaline type therapy stuff.
Yeah.
They're going to be parachuting in, possibly with an American flag for the anthem that kicks off at 3:30, which my daughter's going to sing. She's going to kick us off with the anthem, God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood, and then one more song. And then a local veteran nonprofit that I had no idea existed. They're a national chapter, but they have a veteran group here in Nebraska, and it's called Guitars for Vets. And I happened to get a hold of Taylor through one of the other podcasts that I was on. I saw her on there. And so I started researching what they did. And they do a 10-week course to teach veterans how to play guitar. And once you graduate, you get the guitar that you played with. Oh, and I was like, that's super badass. Cool. Therapy through music and that kind of thing. And I was like, that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
So I got a hold of her and I said, hey, I want to have you guys at the event this year. And she goes, well, would you want us to play? I'm like, most definitely. I didn't know you guys did that. So they're going to be the band that kicks us off. They're going to run a 60 to 90-minute set. In between each sets, as they're tearing down and putting up, we're going to grab more heads of veterans organizations to talk about who they are and what they do. Then we have the blue collar bands going on, and they're a local group out of North Platte, Nebraska, and they do 70s, 80s rock. They do some country. They're a great bar band. They do a lot of cover stuff. They're a fun group. Then the next group that goes, or the next person that goes on, is Scotty Hastings.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't know about Scotty Hastings, but he opened for Dave Grohl.
I'm learning about Scotty. Yeah. I've just recently started learning about Scotty myself.
He is an amazing dude. Like I called him up and it was like I was talking to my best friend, right? First time I'd ever talked to him.
Down to earth guy.
Yeah. Just an amazing dude. And his story is freaking incredible. Seriously, go on YouTube, search him out, watch his story on how he got shot in Afghanistan. He ended up taking 10 bullets.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Thigh to his shoulder. During recovery, he picks up a bow at Walter Reed and starts shooting his bow. Can't shoot right-handed because he has no feeling in his right hand. So he switches over and starts shooting left-handed, which is incredible to me because that's super hard to do.
He was on the Contagion Effect show, right?
Yeah, he's been on Contagion. Yeah, he's been on quite a few of them.
Okay, yeah.
But he ended up shooting for, I believe, the Paralympic team for the U.S. Army.
Wow.
Because he was just that good with the bow. And 2020 comes around, COVID shuts down everything, right?
Yeah.
So he grabs a guitar and starts watching YouTube and teaches himself how to play guitar. And starts going to these open mic nights around Nashville because downtown Nashville is all dead, right? It's closed. There's nothing open. But all these bars outside of Nashville, they're still going. So he goes up and he starts doing open mic nights. And next thing you know, he gets signed to a Nashville label. He's signed with Blackwater Entertainment or Black River Entertainment.
Wow,
Kelsey Ballerini's label. He's signed to that. But just the most humble, amazing guy you'll ever talk to. And he has some great songs. So that's super cool that we're getting him to come in. And then our final band for the night is actually the Dylan Bloom Band. And they're based out of Grand Island, Nebraska. Farm boy out there. He grabs your attention. He tears down the stage. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's got a ton of his own songs that he does. He does some cover songs too, but he does a lot of his own songs. Just a great dude. I've seen him twice now. I'm going to him again this weekend, up in Scribner, Nebraska for Miles for Heroes, I believe is the organization that's putting this on. But yeah, man, I like the band lineup this year is completely crazy. Should be a great time. Really looking forward to having all of them come in and play for us. Looking forward to my daughter getting up and singing. She does the anthem and does it for the local hockey team here, the junior team that we have here in town, the Lincoln Stars. But yeah, it's going to be a fun night, man. It's a lot of networking is going to happen that night. We have a couple drone pilots that are going to come in. They're going to do drone footage of it. We've got a couple of videographers coming in. We've got a couple of photographers coming in. I think we're at 7, 8, 9 podcasts that are going to be coming in to do lives from the event. Trying to work on Reverent Warriors to bring in, what's the name of their, Nate runs it, Nate McDonald. He does Vet TV, trying to get Vet TV to come in and cover this. We have local news that wants to cover it. We have local radio that wants to cover it. I mean, this thing has just completely exploded. So
that's great.
Yeah. Last year we hosted about 100 veterans and families. I think this year we're going to be seeing anywhere between 1,500 and 2,500 people.
Dang.
Yeah. I mean, huge.
That's amazing.
Huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah. Cause I mean, my wife and I, we're out here in California, but we definitely are talking about making our way out there as well.
That's awesome.
I mean, whatever we got to do to get out there, it sounds like a great time. I mean, absolutely a great time.
Definitely. It's going to be a lot of fun. And honestly, our main mission is to network. That's what this event's for, is to network, and not just person to person, but group to group. We want groups working together. We have a ton of really small groups coming in, and we have some bigger groups coming in, and we want to show the bigger groups too that, hey, look, we've got this little, farm down south that's doing equine therapy. Or we've got Deuce Outfitters Ministry that they do hunting trips, but now they're working on equine therapy. They're trying to get land bought right now for that. So I'm actually on their board too. I'm working with them to help with the fundraising type stuff to be able to buy this land so that they can host, 10, 12, 15 veterans at a time for equine therapy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I work with Wheels for Warriors. They're doing a big presentation this weekend up in Scribner to a veteran. They're giving away a motorcycle to them. I had to skip a walleye trip this weekend with Combat Warriors out of Kearney to go up and do this, but
wow. Man, you're really getting yourself out there. I mean, that's why I'm saying you're a huge contributor in the veteran community, and I definitely see you supporting a lot of people, man. I mean, that's how I came in touch with you. You're just, you're in the comment sections. You're sharing stuff. I mean, I love it, bro. Much respect, and absolutely.
But that's what we got to do, right? We talked a little bit off screen here about how hard it is to get your message out, and if I can help 10 veterans organizations, or I can help 10 veteran singers get noticed and get pushed out there, that's what we have to do as veterans. We have to, we're 1% of the United States.
Yep.
But we're probably the 1% that will work the best together.
Yeah.
And if we can all work together and we can push this out there, we might save that life today.
I definitely feel that we are starting to build a community. I mean, there's definitely a couple of us podcasters, a couple guests and listeners. Everybody's really starting to come together as a big community. The gun room radio, with Donald doing that for everybody. I mean, my gosh, man. I mean, there's just starting to be a lot of places to take advantage, and each and every one of us served with a amount of people. And I can't ever get the guys that I serve with on the show, but I still talk to them all the time. You know what I mean? And I'm in touch with them, and I'm able to at least disperse this information out to that group. And, right. You have your group. We have our groups, and now like you said, bringing that whole spider web together and just making it one cohesive group and getting all the guys out there. That a lot of these people are real true heroes to, this country, and they don't really go out there looking for attention, but in my opinion, they deserve every ounce of attention, the attention that they deserve. And that's why, I'm glad there's so many. I'm starting to see a lot more avenues, networks, groups, nonprofits, things concentrating on mental health, things that just weren't out there and available for, the guys that came before us. And, a lot of us started watching our brothers, our sisters commit, suicide and give up and fall into the demons. And I think that's really motivated the community. Like, hell no, man, we can't let this happen. We gotta, there's ways that we can get this through and try to get these guys out of these mindsets that some of them are in, because I've been there, bro. I've been down a bad mindset path, and gone down really bad places, more than once. Right. And who knows how, if I'm not to say I can't do it again, but providing communities out there, showing people that it's okay to have, mental health problems, be okay to talk about it. Hey, be okay to, reach out to someone and say, hey, bro, I'm struggling today, man. Are you, bro? Like, what's going on, man? Talk to me.
Yep. Exactly.
All these groups out there, it's good, man. We're just trying to save our brothers and sisters' lives. I think, one group at a time, one podcast at a time.
Yep.
And it's definitely not a sprint, it's a marathon, and we just got to all try to keep sticking with it.
Right. And if we can work hand in hand, that's what we have to get over, that mentality as a nonprofit that
this is me, mine.
This is it. This is the do all, say all. This is it. No, you got to think outside that box and go, if I can't help this person, but now I've networked with 30 different groups, and you get somebody that comes to you and they're like, I really don't care for motorcycles, but man, I love horses. Oh, go to Out of the Blue Farms here in Nebraska. They've got a spot for you. Or go to Deuce. They've got a spot for you. You know what I mean? And to be able to showcase in every state, what there is to give or take, that's something we have to do as the podcaster, as an event hoster, to be able to open those doors to people and say, look, we've got a spot for you. Yep. You're not alone.
Yep.
As Shannon Book says, you're not alone.
Right.
Song. I love that song, by the way.
Yeah. No, another great vet artist.
Yep. And super good dude. It was funny. The other day I took a screenshot. I'd ordered his sweatshirt in, and I took a screenshot of it's been sent, and I sent it to him. I'm like, Doc, man, I can't wait to rock this sweatshirt. And it was like 2 minutes later, my phone rings. He's like, brother, I just had to call you. He's like, I appreciate you buying that sweat. And I literally had a 45-minute conversation with him.
Yeah. That's
just
great, man.
Super good dude. And super excited for him with his new video that just came out too, the Dear Mom video.
Yeah, I've reached out to get him on my show, man. I definitely want to have him on. He's I've watched him on a couple other shows as well, like the Contagion Effect show. I see a lot of people on there, and I'm like, oh man, I'd love to have him on. And he just seems like a really good guy.
Shannon is high energy.
Yeah.
Holy buckets. He's high energy. I
can
imagine him on cocaine, but super good dude. Just an amazing guy.
No, that's why he fits in with the Marines, man, being a good old devil doc.
Right.
I mean, he fits in well with the Marine bunch.
Yep. But and that's another piece for me that's been really cool is getting to talk to Shannon Book, getting to talk to Barbara Sim, getting to talk to Schaefer Mueller, Sal Gonzalez, and I'm talking to these veteran singers and I'm learning a lot about them and kind of where they came from and that kind of stuff. And it's a lot of this is coming through podcasts. Like I'll see them on podcasts. I'm like, oh man, I got to reach out to this person, and hit them up and they're the first to respond right back. And they're like, man, this is cool what you're doing. I'd love to be a part of it. And so we've already I have actually already kind of started planning for next year. I haven't even pulled this year off yet, but I'm already looking towards next year. And So for the lineup next year for the country night, I'm kind of looking at if we can get Scotty Hastings to come back. I want him to come back. Schaefer Mueller, Shannon Book, Sal Gonzalez, Barbara Sim. And then I've talked to Sam Grow, which he's not a veteran, but he's a bigger singer. Demon Jones. I've talked to a handful of other guys too to come in, and we're looking at doing a 2-day event next year already. And having one day like all country. And I want to highlight these veteran country singers because that's kind of the avenue I'm running down right now.
Yeah.
But then our second day, I got reached out to by a group out of Texas called Lockjaw, and they're a heavy metal group. As I was talking to him, he's like, man, my wife's a veteran. We have 2 veterans in our group. He's like, I want to play this year. Oh. I'm like, bro, we're like maxed on time. Like I can't throw another band in. And he's like, well, how about next year? And I'm like, I'm totally down for next year. And he goes, let me handle the heavy metal side of it. And we'll bring people in. We're going to open it up to the public next year. We're going to charge for a 1-day pass or a 2-day pass. And then he's going to handle all the heavy metal stuff. And he's like, my friends are Drowning Pool, Seven Dust, Breaking Benjamin, Five Finger Death Punch.
No.
Whew.
Bro, if you could get Five Finger Death Punch there, dude, oh my gosh, I'll sell my left nut to be there, dude.
I'm thinking, I don't know that I have a venue big enough yet for Five Finger Death Punch.
Dude.
So, and I've talked to Corey Marks. Corey Marks is out of Canada. He's a country singer. He opened up for Brantley Gilbert and Five Finger Death Punch when they did their tour. So I've talked to him, and he's like, yeah, man, keep me in the loop. So that may be another avenue that we have. But it's like, it's cool when these people are reaching out to me going, okay, tell me about this because it sounds super cool. And then after I tell them, they're like, I want to be a part of it. So we may end up doing a 3-day event. I don't know. Come next year. We just got to kind of see how it hashes out, but it seems to be growing really fast. And then when I talked to Josh with Primal Outfitters, he was like, man, our veteran nonprofits up here don't work together. Like everything is, I want this whole pie to myself. I don't want to share anything.
Yeah.
And he goes, what you're doing with Herostock is amazing because it shows these veteran nonprofits that you have to work together for that common goal. He goes, what do you think about coming up here in June? He goes, I'll take you out on a king salmon fishing trip on my boat for free. And he goes, then I want to take you around town and I want to show you some of the stuff. And like our Legion, their Legion literally sets on the water of Lake Michigan.
Oh, jeez.
And so then he starts sending me pictures of the sunset. And he's like, imagine this as a backdrop with a band set up right here. And I'm like,
oh, man.
Shit, I guess we might be doing some traveling too. So, yeah, I'm going up this summer to take a look at it and kind of walk through it with him and see, if that's a possibility to possibly do a pre-Herostock party next year up there and then do the big party down here.
That's badass.
And start doing that, maybe do a remote one every year throughout the nation. And then
California.
It's already been talked about with Contagion Boys. And Mike Ellick, he was the first one that actually posed that question to me. Is this something you're just going to do only in Nebraska? And at that time I was like, yeah, I can't, I don't have time to travel. I can't do this if I'm running a business and my daughter's going to be a senior next year. And I'm like, I just don't know that I'd have time to do it. And, once I talked to Josh, I was like, maybe this is something we need to do and open this up and start looking at doing, these remote parties to, hey, this is what we're doing in Nebraska. And you guys need to pull your head out and everybody needs to work hand in hand because we're all working towards the same thing.
Absolutely.
And so I've got that one that I've got to look at. And then Andrew with the Scuttlebutt podcast, when I was on there, he's like, hey, we've got a VFW down here. You can use the facilities 100% free if you set everything up and come down and do it. So now I've got one down in Tennessee, that down by Nashville, that we might be doing too.
Dang,
So,
dude. Yeah.
I mean, it's super cool to see the growth of it. Beyond scary to see the growth of it like this, because it like everybody's just behind it. Like they see what it is and what it's for, and everybody's like, you got to keep growing it, you know. And
so speaking of that, like how does it get funded and stuff like that, and how can people donate, or how do people help you out with this, or how does it get taken care of?
All of our funding right now is coming through local donations or donations through the website. www.herostock.org is actually our website, and you can click on the donate button, donate through Give Butter, and it's cool because you can do PayPal, Venmo, credit card, cash, like all different forms of ways of paying. All goes through Give Butter. I got to give a shout out to Justin Eichelberger. He actually set up our website, did an amazing job. But yeah, you can donate through there, and that's literally where all of our funding's coming from, is local donations. We worked with a really good marketing and media company here locally. It's called Unanimous, and they were one of my sponsors last year, and it was one of my buddy's brother-in-law runs it. And so I reached out to him. I said, hey man, this is what we're thinking about doing. And he donated $250. And that was kind of the median last year that everybody was donating, was like $250. But after the event, I talked to him, and he's like, we actually came out to the event. He goes, I didn't try to talk to you because I knew you'd be busy, but he goes, I took it all in. And he goes, that's really cool, man. It's cool what you're doing. And he goes, I want to be a bigger piece of it. And I was like, okay, and I was thinking monetary donations originally. And as we kind of got into this, I was like, man, I don't know the algorithms of Facebook. I don't know how to make posts. I don't know how to make a logo. And so I contacted him and I said, hey, would you guys be interested in doing kind of a work trade type deal? You guys do the media marketing for us, and you can take one of our top sponsors. And so they ended up doing $5,000 worth of work for us, basically for free. Wow. And they redid our logo. Our logo last year was literally my face with aviators. That, like a bearded dude with aviators. That was the logo for Vet Stock. They've kind of refined that a little bit, made it a little bit more sellable with the logo that they did for us. But they did a ton of marketing and media stuff for us, and set up that kind of stuff to help us succeed.
Wow, that's great.
And it was amazing because he's not a veteran, but he saw what it was, and his whole team was like, we want to be part of this.
Yeah.
And they've jumped in and they've done a great job with it. And but yeah, outside of that, I mean, it's literally going door to door, business to business, saying, hey, this is what we're doing. Would you be interested? And
that's great, man.
We had a local VFW. They gave $750. I went in and pitched it, and they're like, what are you asking for? And I said, I want your support. They said, well, how about $750? I said, perfect. That works too. So, I mean, it's cool because you go into these businesses and they start, real standoffish, and you tell them what it's about and how you're doing it and what it's for. And they're like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, here's money, and all that money goes to paying for the bands, paying for the insurance, paying for the lighting, the light and sound. Dean Schaefer is doing my light and sound this year. Super good dude. And all the bands are coming in like they're like, yeah, we usually charge X amount of dollars, but because this is this event, it's so cool, we'll actually charge this, and it's like way less. So it's kind of cool in that aspect too, that they realize what we're doing and what it's for, and they're like, no, we want to help you guys out, so we're gonna drop the price. But we have to pay for porta-johns, we have to pay for the insurance for it, the security for it, the everything else. So that's where all the money goes. It's 100% volunteer based. My whole board, nobody takes a check. So it's it's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun planning it. I hope that it can live up to the hype that's in my own head, because in my own head, it's a wild party, crazy, great time, but a lot of high fives, hugs, laughs, meeting new people, that networking side of it. And we're going to do a silent auction this year that will help pay for next year's event. So that's one thing that we're working on right now, is doing silent auction stuff. But yeah, man, it's like, it just keeps growing. It literally grows by the week. Something changes every week with it, that, another piece falls into the spot, and it's really cool to see that growth and see the people that are getting behind it and seeing what it's for, and realizing how much it's needed to have that place for all of us to come together.
Yeah, you're definitely getting that snowball effect, man, where it's just, it's just picking it up and growing. So what are did you have any kind of long-term goals or anything like that with this when you started, or did you just kind of like start it and we'll see where it goes?
Well, when I started it, it was supposed to be a one-time deal. So I had zero ideas on where this was going to go. As we've started planning this, I would like to say in 5 years that I'm hosting 10,000 people. And in 10 years that I'm hosting 25,000 people minimum.
Wow.
I really want to make this the pinnacle for veteran networking, or not just veteran networking through all of our heroes. Because there's the one thing that I found, like, as I've been digging, I can find veteran nonprofits throughout this country just kind of falling out of every corner. When you really start looking, like, there's veteran nonprofits everywhere.
Right.
You go on and you try to find a law enforcement, a fire, an EMS, dude, there's nothing for nonprofits for them, or very, very small amount. And you have to dig pretty hard to find them. So I want to kind of cross that boundary too, to where, you know what, you're law enforcement, but you're still welcome, because we're all brothers. We all deal with the same shit. We all see the same demons, and that's kind of what we want to focus on, is that crossover between the veteran and the law enforcement and the fire and the corrections and EMS. And then I want to include the Gold Star families, because let's be honest, they gave a loved one, right? For the love of our country. They gave one of their loved ones, but at least one. Some of them more. We work with a really good group out of Omaha called Corporal Deegan Page Foundation. Corporal Deegan was one of them that was killed in the withdrawal. And his family's from Omaha. And so they live 50 minutes away from us. And we work with them a little bit here and there. They're a great foundation, but it's all based off of him losing his life and that withdrawal and the debacle of a withdrawal. So it's cool to be able to work with the Gold Star families. They actually just presented me with a quilt of valor, the Gold Star moms from Omaha, which was a crazy ceremony. Like,
that's touching.
And it's pretty cool deal.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sharing stuff for them too, because they've got a concert going up in Council Bluffs. It's coming up soon, and all the money from that goes back to the Gold Star moms to help pay for the quilts to be made and stuff, the quilting stuff. So, and that's kind of where I want to be. Like, that's my way of giving back too, is to share everything. I want people to see the Miles for Heroes. It's basically the exact same thing that I'm doing, but I want people to go to their stuff, because it's a veteran-based deal. Nice. I want them to go up to this deal up in Omaha, because all that money goes back to the Gold Star moms. And the thing is you don't even have to be a veteran for me to support you. Dylan Bloom is not a veteran, but guess what? He supports a ton of veteran stuff. So you know what? I'm going to support you. Because you support my brothers and sisters and what we're doing to make these nonprofits better. Because at the end of the day, your big nonprofits have a place, right? Your Wounded Warriors, your Tunnels for Towers, they all do great things. But it's groups like mine, Wheels for Warriors, Combat Warriors, Deuce Outfitters, your podcast, Contagion, Two Drunk Dudes. Those are the type of people that are going to save the common veteran, right? That not the high profile. We're going to save more veterans on the common side of it, right? And give them.
I like to think so, yeah.
You know, and that's what we all want to work towards. So that's kind of why I'm pushing the way I'm pushing. I'm not a huge religious person, but I kind of feel like this is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to be doing right now in life, is to give back and help save. Because I was lucky. I was fortunate. I was 96 to 2000. I never saw war. Right. So I feel like I'm the lucky one when I start hearing these stories, you know, some of these guys tell, and it's like, I never had to see that shit, man. I got lucky. You know, I served in peacetime and I didn't have to see it. So this is my way of giving back to those guys that did have to see it, whether it was Vietnam, Korea, Iraq, you know, Bosnia, whatever it was. You know, and it makes me feel good that I can do that. And I'm having a blast doing it, right? I get to talk to all these cool people and hang out on podcasts and talk to guys like you and Contagion and Shadow Mark. And I got to meet Derek. Derek came into town. He's the host of Shadow Mark. He came into town for a football game.
Cool guy.
Yeah, and I happened to see him, you know,
phone.
And I was like, dude, you're in town? He's like, yeah. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be downtown. You want to hook up? He's like, yeah, sure. So we met up. We sat around and bullshitted for an hour while they ate supper and we drank whiskey and, you know, had a good time.
That's great. Yeah.
You know, and once this event happens and all these people are coming in and I get to meet the Tom Ettingers of the world and the Eric with Contagion's going to come in, and because Mike has to work, unfortunately. You know, Donald Dunn's coming in and I got Scotty coming in and I get to meet all these people that I've talked to and we've conversed and stuff, but now I actually get to meet them in, you know, face to face. It's going to be a great day, man. There's going to be a lot of people that come in.
It's a sound like you don't want to miss it type of deal. I mean, that's kind of how I'm starting to feel like if I don't go, I'm going to be left out.
kind of are. But you know, and that's the cool thing too with the podcasts that are coming in to do these lives. We've got guys that can't do big crowds, you know, because of their PTSD and anxiety and stuff. Or we have guys that can't get out, you know, they're homebound because of physical reasons or whatever. Guess what? You can still log on to this and you can still be a part of it through these groups that are coming in to do these live events from there.
Yeah, that's great. That's going to be awesome. I mean,
you know, and another thing,
to be a part of it.
Yeah. And you know, I want you guys to come out. I want everybody to come out. I want this thing to be 20,000 people this year, which I don't know how we'd do that. We'd have people standing out in the parking lot in cornfield. but you know, I mean, I want as many people there because I want people to see what we're doing. I want everybody to go, this is badass. And I want to be there. And I want in 2 years for people in Oregon to go, dude, did you hear about Herostock? We're going this year.
Yeah. They're going to be talking about for 364 days a year. You know what I mean? Walking away from it like, oh, dude, I can't wait for next year already. You're already at the place.
Yep. And that's part of it too, is giving everybody that one day that they look forward to. Right. Yeah. I want to look forward to Herostock next year because last year was so much fun. And if you've got that one day, maybe that will change your mindset. If you go to that dark place and you go, you know what? I can't because we have Herostock coming up. Yep. Or Herostock's 115, 114 days away like it is right now. You know, and give them that one day where that's something that everybody looks forward to because they had such a great time there.
And I mean, I know a lot of people are missing out on that camaraderie. I mean, that's, I think, what a lot of people, when they get out, I think one of the biggest things that you'll hear someone say is, I miss the guys or girls that I served with over there, you know, or that I spent time with, you know, for 4 years in the most adamant way with some of them. I mean,
right.
But yeah, I mean, so that's great that you guys are opening up a door where thousands of people can feel that again. And it's not such a situation where everybody's at fucking POA or something, you know.
Right.
You're just in there, everybody kicking back, having a great time. I mean, I love it, man.
And the cool thing is, oh, go ahead.
No, it's good. I'm just saying I can't wait, and it's something I don't want to miss.
It's going to be a great time, but you know, and the cool thing with it is you can go sit in the corner in a chair and take it all in, or you can be the guy running through high-fiving. Now, we don't want anybody running through naked, but you know, you can be running through high-fiving.
Don't start that, man. Damn.
We're going streaking.
Don't plant that seed, bro. Right. Fucking some Frank the Tank out there. Who's coming with me?
Exactly. But you know, I mean, and it's 100% free. Like outside of food and booze, it's 100% free. So you have nothing to lose but a couple hours to come out and hang out.
Yeah.
You know, and we had, out of the 100 people last year that kind of shuffled through, we had probably 50 to 60 that stayed till the very end of the night. Like, we were taking down lights and there were still people standing around talking and hanging out and, you know, talking to people they'd never met before. So that's kind of the atmosphere that it was last year. And I really hope that carries into this year too, where people don't want to leave because they had such a great time. You know,
so Jason, let's say someone wants to go to this event. How do they go about getting? Is there a ticket? Is it just you show up, you show ID? I mean, how does it go?
Show up. Nobody's getting turned away. We aren't checking IDs this year. We're not doing anything like that. We haven't technically opened it to the public, but if you show up, come on in, join the party.
Yeah, obviously you're there to support, you know, a great cause.
Yeah.
And a great community.
Yep. And like I said, I think we're gonna see at least 1,500 this year. I'm thinking we're gonna see over that by the time it's all said and done, because we're just starting to get our posters out and our flyers and that kind of stuff. So once that really gets out there and gets hit, I think we're gonna see a lot more response coming in, you know, through the Facebook page and that kind of stuff on it. So.
Oh yeah, man. And this story, you know, your word is just going to keep, you know, bleeding out and it's just going to keep going out there. I know I'm going to keep sharing everything you put out there and stuff like that, because I think it's a great thing, man. I mean, and I want brothers and sisters to go benefit from this, because I think, like you said, it is that one time a year that I think everybody's not going to want to miss it, and you want to be a part of that community, and you're going to end up starting meeting a lot more people that are like-minded, you know, like yourself. You know, being removed from it for so long, you kind of tend to forget there's other out there like you.
Right.
Until you start reaching out and you're like, oh shit, you start conversating. Oh, you know, like, and then everything just starts clicking and you find yourself, you know, getting out there more. I know I removed myself for a while from the community. And once I got kind of the COVID thing hit and I somehow found myself on TikTok, you know, hearing about it from the kids and jumped on it. And next thing you know, I found that there's a huge veteran community out there, and slowly but surely started just talking to others and, you know, got myself where I'm like, man, I really want to start helping out the veteran community and do all those things and, you know, reconnect in such a way. So it's been great.
Well, and part of this gives us that sense of service too, right? Like you served your country, but you're not done yet. There's still more to do. And as we see that number that keeps getting thrown out there of the 22, which I think is a bogus number. I think it's way low.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think it's just a number that's, you know, they just want to, you know, put a number on it, so to speak.
I think if you actually had the
misleading
real number,
though. It could be very misleading, I'm sure.
Right. Because I think if you had the real number, you'd have people crying to shut the military down.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot of especially like the Vietnam veterans that some of them don't report themselves. They're just on the streets. I mean, and some of these numbers are getting missed. I'm
Right.
sure,
And there's
so.
states that don't have to report.
Right.
They don't report a drug overdose as a suicide. They don't
No.
report a death by cop by suicide.
They died by COVID.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, we've got to get the number down, regardless of what that number is. If it's 2, that's too many.
Too many. Right.
So we have to, as some of these guys say, Tom Ettinger's 1 and Sean Laurie, words not or actions not word.
Yep.
Get up and do something. If you're not part of a nonprofit group, become part of a nonprofit group. If you go to this event and you don't see a nonprofit group that you will fit into, start one. If it's cars and there's not something with cars there, start a nonprofit for cars.
Yeah. It's like being back in the old days of school, like having a club, and you're starting your own club up, and it's just a great place to have that camaraderie and stuff like that. I've even thought about it here where I am at locally, starting to maybe do like a big old barbecue at a local park, and just kind of start bringing, families in and get to enjoy, each other and also, kind of put it out there to the community, like, hey, these are the men and women that, fought for this country or, decided to go serve for this country. Right. And here they are, and come celebrate with them, and let's all have a great time. I mean, we got to start getting our communities behind us as well, because a lot of us don't live next to each other, and we're all kind of in our own little bubbles or our own communities, so to speak. So, trying to get out to our communities and getting the communities all behind some of these things, is a huge benefit.
Right.
And also it just helps out in general. And it also educates the community as well. And look at like, oh, these guys are cool, man. They're real people. They're not just, killers or whatever, they're not just some a-hole or, whatever. Right. Some people get that narrative off of, veterans and stuff like that. So, or even active.
Right. Well, and that's part of the reason why we're looking at opening it up to the public next year is part of it is I don't want to ask the people that we're trying to help to support it through the silent auction and that kind of stuff, right? Because essentially we've got silent auction items, and it's going to be all veteran, Leo, first responder, gold stars that are going to be buying stuff. So I'm asking the people that we're trying to support what we're supporting. Right. Like, that's just dumb, right? So we're going to open this up to the public. And part of it is to educate the public. Look, we've got 35, 40 veterans a day throughout the United States that are killing themselves, and we're 1% of the population. There's something wrong with this. Our mental health, not only in the veteran world and law enforcement and EMS world, in the world in general, is off, right? We have terrible mental health throughout the world. Yeah.
There's guys out there killing themselves that look like just you and me, man.
Right. Right. Yep. And we need to, as our communities, need to step up and do better for the mental health side, whether it's veteran, law enforcement, general public, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And with Herostock, you've got that chance to be able to find somebody to talk to. And sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger than it is to talk to your buddy. And maybe that will help somebody this year too, is having that chance to, you're a veteran, but guess what? I don't really know you, but I'm going to unload for a minute, and have that chance to be able to do that. We've had 3 suicides in the last 2 months in Nebraska of veterans that I know of.
Oh man, that's rough.
And it's like, I didn't personally know them, but I know people that did personally know them. And I'm like, 3 in 1 month or 2 months. That's crazy. Those are stupid.
That starts hitting closer to home. I mean, when it's, in your same state and you're like, wow. And people that knew someone,
Yep. So it's, that's kind of the driving force for me is let's make this event something that everybody looks forward to. Everybody can have a chance to network, whether it's person to person, person to group, group to group. Let's just make this an event where everybody wants to show up, release the demons for one day, hang out, have a great time. We have Soldier Valley Spirits coming in, which is a locally owned veteran company, a distiller. They're bringing their semi-trailer in. They're going to be selling their spirits while they're there. They're going to do bottle sales, which they're super cool bottles because they're canteen-style bottles.
Oh, damn. That's cool.
I'm actually working with them right now to do a private label for Herostock. So there'll be collector's bottles.
Yeah.
So we've got them coming in. We actually just signed another one of our tiered sponsorships with one of the guys that runs Deuce Outfitters. He's going to be sponsoring us this year as a stage sponsor. I mean, we've got a lot of cool stuff coming in, a lot of really cool veteran nonprofits coming in. We've got some really cool veteran for-profits coming in. We've got Grunt Style is actually talking about being there this year and being one of our merchandise sponsors.
I'm rocking. Shout out to them. To find out.
Right. We've talked to Nine Line. Nine Line might be coming in. We've got the word out to Black Rifle Company. I don't know if they're going to come in. But yeah, I mean,
it's big names, man. Some big names out there. Yeah.
And that's what I want to get. I want to get these big names to come in and recognize it. And then they start pushing our stuff out so we can get more veterans, law enforcement, first responders to come in and see what we're doing and have that experience of one night or 2 nights or 5 nights, whatever we end up being.
And hopefully these guys aren't so big time, man. They didn't, they were probably struggling at one point in time to starting off and, trying to get it out there like everybody else. So, that's one thing about vets getting behind vets. We got to remember we all were starting off one time and we're all trying to get out there. So, hopefully these guys all, are able to at least maybe send representatives out there and, just to, help it out, man. I mean,
exactly.
Every single, veteran, big things like these deserve all the recognition, all the help, you can absolutely get.
Sure.
I'm hoping at some point in time, the VA starts getting behind some of these things and you can start, giving somewhat of a funding because they don't realize that this is a way of helping their veterans out as well, getting help with the mental health and stuff because I don't know if they, realize this and a lot of times guys don't want to go talk to some psychologist or someone who never went or experienced what they experienced.
Right.
But you get them in front of their brothers and their sisters, they're just going to spew it all and we're going to talk it out, open it up and and we all kind of know what we're talking about while we're going through it. So, these kind of things, I'm hoping at some point in time that even from a federal or a state level, that you guys can start getting some kind of a funding because these are genuinely helping people save their life. Where you could get someone excited like for that one day, man, like all year long, where he's just pumped, like, man, I'm getting ready. Like, what am I going to wear? Like,
right. Man, their clothes out a month ahead of time.
Yeah, like going through all my podcast shirts that I've got and all my merch and like. Which one am I going to wear?
I'm going to have to be doing costume changes like all day long just to get all the podcast merch out there.
Hour 1 wearing this shirt.
Right.
You're going to have like costume changes.
But no, man, it's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing where this thing really goes. Because right now I see the sky's the limit.
Yeah, and, man. Absolutely.
The one thing that I never want to do is lose the focus of what it's about. No matter if we're, $5 in the bank account or 5 million in the bank account, I still want that focus to still be on, mental health. I want it to be on the camaraderie. I want it to be on the networking. I want it to always be for 1 night of fun or 3 nights of fun or 5 nights of fun, whatever we're hosting that year. I want that to be the focus of it. it's one of those things that I think deep down, it's going to hit home with people. And I think it's going to jazz them up to where I want to go to this. And I want that to be on my calendar next year to go to, and the following year to go to. And to be that spot for everybody to come together in one location for 1 day, 5 days, through whatever it is, and just hang out and meet people from all over the country, and have that experience.
Who doesn't love listening to music, man, and drinking and shooting the shit? You know, I mean, right there, and you throw in some cornhole. Oh man, like I told you, man, like I think I told you, man, like babe, we're gonna be buying tickets here real soon to Nebraska.
Right. And we're probably gonna outgrow the venue after this year. So we're already looking at a couple different options for next year. One of them being a fairgrounds.
That's beautiful.
Where people can bring in trailers.
It's not a bad thing, man. It's not a bad thing. Not a bad issue to have, huh?
I want to see this thing. I want it to get to the point where people, like I said, across the nation go, we have to go to this.
Yeah. Well, I want to see that too, bro. And I want to see this through with you. And I'm cheering you on as well, bro. Like for real. Like I think it's a great thing. And I'm super excited about it. And I think it's an annual thing that I'm going to definitely try to make arrangements for every year. And I love it. I love the idea of it. I love the thought of it.
It's going to be fun, man. It's like I said, and we can talk next week and something else changes, because it's literally changing by the week right now. And I think we only have 10 spots left for vendors.
Wow.
I was looking at this when we first started talking about this. I looked at this spot and I'm like, oh yeah, no worries, man. We're going to have all kinds of room. Now I'm like, shit, can we put them outside the fence? can we put them along the cornfield down there? How far can we go out with this? Because I've had such huge response on it that people want to be involved. And to me, that's super cool because it was supposed to be a one-night deal.
Now, do you guys got food trucks and stuff out there in Nebraska?
Yeah, we do. We actually have 2 food trucks coming in right now. The first one's Take 'em Catering, which is one of my buddies out of Omaha. He's talking about doing possibly like fair food, that kind of
awesome
stuff.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then the other truck is Johnny Rico's Pizza. So it's a New York style pizza served out of a food truck. And he's actually veteran owned.
Nice.
So we got him coming in and they're going to set up. And like I said, we have like 30 different veterans organizations, whether it's nonprofit or for-profit. We do have a couple for-profits coming in. I'm working with the Lincoln Stars right now, which is our local junior hockey team here in town. They put about 2,500 butts in the seats for high school kids to play hockey. And hockey's really not that big around here. So that's pretty cool that they can do that. But I have a meeting with them tomorrow. We're going to do Herostock jerseys.
Oh, dude. Nice.
They're going to wear them. It's going to be the warm-up jerseys. So they're going to wear them for all 32 home games next year and then 10 road games next year. So it'll actually get spread out through the Midwest where they play, about Herostock and that kind of thing. So they're going to be out there. They're going to have a table set up out there and kind of talking about what they do and how they give back to the veteran community and the first responder community too. So, there's so many moving parts and I'm still trying to figure out how I'm keeping it all together and still working and still have a family. And
man, no kidding, dude. Cause I mean, I know how it is just to get things out there and constantly, having to push. But as you start meeting others, like myself, I love to share your stuff. So, all you got to do is put it in one spot and boom, it's going to start getting itself shared and the words getting out there. I mean, I know for me, anytime I see anything with a Herostock, I'm definitely sharing it because I want that word to get out there.
Well, I appreciate
Everybody's
that.
got to go out there and have a good time.
Yeah, man, that's what we need. We need everybody to share it and get it out there and push, and
yeah. And if you guys listen, I mean, it doesn't cost a thing to share, like all that stuff. So, help him out. And if you do want to be a part of it, reach out to it, like his website. And there's just different ways that you can be a part of it. It doesn't have to be monetary. It can just be simply sharing it and getting the word out and liking it. And the more that, face we get or eyes that we get on it, the more successful it will be, and the more lives that you will change and save, man.
Yep. 100%.
And that's what we're all behind. But hey, brother, I really appreciate your time, Jason. I'm sure we can probably talk for hours.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But like I said, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your story with us, sharing your experiences, and hearing what you're doing now for the veteran community. I can't appreciate you enough. And like I said, everybody else out there, please go out there, share, get his stuff out there, and go check that thing out. Go check out Herostock 2023, the place to be.
Hell yeah. Well, brother, I really appreciate you having me on, man. I love coming on and doing this and getting to talk to you guys and share it. That's all.
Yeah, bro. And, we're now brothers. So, hey, man, you can always reach out to me if you're ever having a bad day, whatever, man. I'm always here to talk to you and stuff like that.
Same.
If you could just kind of hold tight, make sure we got the recording, and then you can go from there. You don't have to necessarily stay on the computer or nothing, but just hold tight and make sure we got the recording. But once again, thanks again, brother.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, friends and fam. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. This was a great interview. Jason is a great guy. If you guys can, please go check out this is his website I'm showing here at the bottom. And then this is the actual event. It's going to be September 9th, 2023 from 2 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. That's Central Standard Time. And then there is the address. So definitely a thing you're not going to want to miss. Great music, great camaraderie, great games, great times. So until next time, guys.